Sometimes the hardest thing that we have to do is to overcome the fear, to have those hard conversations when we look ourselves in the mirror and talk to ourselves.
You've tuned into The Switch. Flip the switch and start shining like never before. Now your host, Lance Gilbreth.
Hello and welcome to another episode 2 of The Switch, where we explore the power of turning fear into action and hesitation into momentum. I'm your host, Lance Gilbreth. On today's episode, we're going to explore one of the most underrated tools, in my opinion, most powerful tool for success: boundaries. Yes, boundaries. Boundaries that we draw around our mental space, our time, and our energy. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how setting those boundaries help you flip the switch from stagnation to success and from burnout to balance. All right, so let's just hop right into it. What are boundaries? A boundary is just simply a limit you set to guard your emotional well-being, your time, as well as your values. It can be as simple as saying no to things when you already have a full plate, you already have so much going on. Just simply learning the power of no, or just walking away from things that take your energy, that what I call moths. They just want to keep on coming and stealing things that are not theirs. But don't think of boundaries as walls that shut people out. Think of boundaries more as like gates that you get to control who comes in, who comes out, what comes in, what comes out. So to simply state it, you get to decide who gets your time, your energy, and your attention. Without boundaries, it's so easy just to become reactionary, reacting to external pressures from work or other relationships, are just our own things that we have in our own head. And so when we start to feel that pressure and we start to just live reactionary, that is when we start to get unproductive, we get stuck, we get in ruts, all the things that like, oh my gosh, what do I do now? But when you have clear and defined boundaries, you get to take the control back. And that is the first step of flipping the switch to success. So now let's talk about why boundaries are so essential to being successful. Success is not just all about showing up, doing the work, working hard. It's about working smart, managing your time, managing your energy. And boundaries help you do just that. So 3 quick points that I would like to make around just that. Number 1, protect your time. Time is our most precious resource, but it's also the easiest thing to waste. Highly successful people guard their time fiercely. And here's the strategy they use. The word no. They say no to distractions, and they say no to things that take away anything, energy, time, resources that do not align with their goals. Okay, so consider this for a minute. If you are answering every email or every call as soon as it comes in, whose priority are you really working on? Your priorities or someone else that is pressuring you to make them a priority? All right, here's point number 2. Point number 2 is simply that boundaries prevent burnout. Success of any kind just simply is not obtainable when you're always exhausted. Without boundaries, you stretch yourself really, really thin. You work way too late. You don't take breaks to eat. You don't take breaks to sleep. You don't take breaks to exercise. Those are not good things. Setting limits on your work hours, your commitments, your availability is key and essential to maintaining your energy and creativity. And if you're an entrepreneur or whatever you do, the more energy and the more creative you have, the better you are. All right, point 3, the better boundaries you have, the better focus you have. When you know what you will and what you won't do, your focus becomes even sharper on the things that matter. Think of some of the most highly successful people in the world that you know, just household names. They have become masters of saying no to the things that do not align with their vision. It is that type of focus, that laser focus in on your vision, that helps you not chase all the rabbits that come. Now, chasing an occasional rabbit is not a bad thing, but it helps you stay focused on what truly matters and what you really desire to be successful at. So to simply state it, boundaries keep you on track. But I am here to tell you, setting boundaries is not easy. It's not easy at all, because we start to think about, guess what? Other people and what they might think and their feelings and what they need. And we think about, I might miss out on this opportunity or that opportunity. So setting boundaries and having boundaries takes practice and time. You're not going to be perfect with them. It's not going to feel comfortable. It's not fun sometimes. So let's unpack some of these challenges. Let's talk about them, and let's see how we can overcome these challenges of setting boundaries when it's uncomfortable. Yep, if you remember episode 1, we talked about getting out of the comfort zone. It's hard. All right, so I hope you're taking notes. So here is point 1, our tool number 1 of how to overcome the uncomfortableness of setting boundaries. Ready? Here we go. Say no. N-O-N-O. You know, Nancy Reagan came up with a slogan for the drug problem back in the 80s. Just say no. Take that approach. Just say no. So think of it like this. Every time that you say no to something that is taking away from your vision and your goal, you're saying yes to something that is going to help you get to your vision or goal. So we're going to say no to the things that steal away our time, our energy, and our focus. Think of it that way. We're saying no to the thieves that want to come in and steal our energy and time and resources and focus. So saying no is hard. So we still want to be polite. We still want to have friends and coworkers and all that. So we have to be nice. We just can't. No. So think about some things like this. Frame it like this. Thank you so much for thinking of me, but today I just have so much going on that I'm just not going to be able to get around to that or join you or whatever last part you want to put in there about giving someone your time, energy, resources. All right, point number 2. Ready? This is a big rubber stamp for me. This one is for me, if not for you, because I deal with this all the time. The guilt of prioritizing yourself over others. I am guilty as charged. How many times do we put others' needs and their want for our time and energy and resources and all and our focus and attention and all the things over our own? And sometimes when I say no to my daughter or family or friends, I feel so selfish. I feel so bad. But that is just a mindset that we have to get to. You know, and we've all heard the saying that you can't pour from an empty cup. You have to take time to recharge your battery in order to have that type of energy to pour back into people. All right, here's number 3. Unclear boundaries lead to confusion and frustration. It is much better to be clear and concise and very specific so that you don't get confused and you don't get frustrated when trying to work on setting boundaries. Sometimes we just like to use the word, I'm busy. Well, that's not good enough. What are you going to do with your time that is productive at 5 o'clock instead of just saying, I'm busy? Oh, I have to go to the gym and work out at 5 o'clock. That's where I'm going to spend my time. That's where I'm going to spend my energy. So that type of clarity in your boundaries removes room for negotiation and misunderstandings. All right, let's go over some action steps that we can take to make sure that we are having effective boundaries. Step number 1, write down all your non-negotiables. Write down all the things that matter to you most. Is it family? Is it friends? Is it charity work? Is it personal work? Is it starting a new business? What matters to you most? Okay, maybe here's another idea for you to write down some hours of undistracted focus or some time to exercise. So the things that you're writing down now are your strongest, your clearest, your most defined boundaries. And here we go. Step number 2, communicate clearly with others. They can't respect your boundaries if they don't know them. I am very aware this step can be a little bit scary because we're afraid to hurt people's feelings by saying no. But if we clearly communicate our boundaries, our no's, our why's, our vision, all that type of thing, they will, as they say, put some respect on your name. All right, step 3, get a backbone. Enforce your boundaries. If you set a boundary, but consistently let people push those boundaries lose all their power. So grow a backbone, stick to your guns, stick to your boundaries. That consistency of you drawing that line in the sand creates power. Okay, so let me give you a couple examples of how successful boundaries lead to successful lives. Protect those early morning hours. Use that for exercising, meditating, journaling, self-reflection. Use it for times to set your day up for success. Okay, another good one. Time management is key to success. Managing your time to get the most out of it is key. So there is a rule. I didn't come up with it. It's called a 2-hour rule. If you have some things that you're really, a project that you're really focused on, block off 2 hours on your calendar every day that's uninterrupted so you can have uninterrupted focus, uninterrupted energy, and uninterrupted creativity. Boom. So don't think of boundaries as barriers. Think of them as bridges to get to the successful life that you've always wanted. These boundaries help us protect our energy, our time, our focus, our attention, our resources. These boundaries help us flip the switch from being too busy to being intentional, from being overwhelmed and burned out to being focused and having the time to do what you always want to do. So remember, start small, be consistent, do the little things. Because every no you say to a distraction is a yes to your dream. Oh, and how awesome it is when we get to celebrate when dreams become realities. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for giving me some of your time today and tuning in to this episode. I hope that you'll do the exact same thing next week. Keep on smiling. Keep on shining.
Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope that your switch is flipped and you shine for all the world to see. Until next time, please like, subscribe, and share, and visit lancegilbreth.com.